we got some things in the works. Yeah,
But I want a shoutcast one. So
yeah, that'd be fun.
definitely.
If anything, we could do our own invitational, like this custom games. We could do our own little thing, and we could do some commentary. And oh, there's so many things we could do to have fun with it. So
Yep.
trust me, we're gonna get some things done officially and unofficially. But Dreadnought's talking about the backdoor plays. They're actually making changes to the game so that backdoors will be globally nerfed, if not completely stopped. Perhaps some of that might be making it so that the damage output from a single player, single enemy is not enough, or
Well, I think
true sight in the base, stuff like that.
right. I think they're gonna do it where you have to have one or two. You have to have more than one and more than one teammate with you to get the bonus damage. So like a single person cannot just push down and backdoor something. It has to be more than two.
Yeah.
I also heard that the towers were going to get progressively like stronger. I heard that the towers were going to have like the back towers were going to have the second tier towers were going to have more ammo opposed to the first tier towers. You hear a whole bunch of things. I hope they do a lot of it because it'll actually help and make the gameplay. I don't want to say, I mean, because we've done it to where we've split push before and we won because of it, but if it was really easy to do. So like, I mean, I just hope they make it harder for the game, for the game to be played overall.
Yeah, split pushing should always be a viable tempo play when you need to like close the gap on experience and capture some objectives, and also get, knock away some momentum from the enemy team. But the thing is, right now, like the way it feels, like, and it's kind of deliberate. The turrets are kind of a joke. People dive them; they don't care. It's like I'm tanking them, and I get it. The whole point is you have to respond to those base threats and protect your structures, not the other way around. And other MOBAs, the structures and turrets are actually a threat. But
Right.
I think that should be scaling damage. Definitely, the inner structures should be stronger, so that you have to have a team play, like at least a 2 or 3 man push.
Like one person can do it, but it's going to be like, why would you even do that? Because it's going to waste so much time for one person to push that much damage. Like say like the second tier tower has double the damage the first tier does. But if the team has a second teammate there, they get a bonus damage or, they do something to where the tower can go down faster. You know what I mean? Because it's a gate. It's 2 towers and a gate.
But
the
also
whole thing needs
the
to be
towers
stronger.
can only focus on one target at a time too, so that's another thing. So
And the sidewalls, because you can get into a base without even getting one tower down.
yep.
The sidewall, my opinion in this, the sidewalls need to be strengthened more at the second tier as well. Because
Yeah.
you can get into a base, and if you're an Illidan or you're a Zeratil, if you're a, what's that guy, Asmodee, that launches frickin' your sergeant, whatever. You get in there and just set up. You can just pick people off one at a time. Bam, bam, bam. And the tower doesn't hit you because you're hitting the enemy. It hits it's prioritized minions first.
Yeah.
So, which is just, you could sit there right next to a tower, and as long as you got healing or whatever, or backup, you can just decimate a team, and the tower's not going to do anything to you.
Yeah, that's the only aspect I think is slightly silly, but I understand why they do it that way. 'Cause they want the focus to be on team plays and map awareness and whatnot. But anyway, so the 5 players on the winning team, in this case Kyle Berkeley, got up to 25K in scholarships or cash to pay back college expenses if they were 4th-year students and not super students, because that's a thing. The top 4 teams, the finalists, all their players received Epic Gaming Systems for Heroes of the Storm, and this is actually a pretty nice rig. Intel i7 4790K CPU, that's 8 core. Gigabyte, which they make solid stuff. Gigabyte gaming motherboard, the Z97X. That's the socket for the i7, the i series, Intel, the latest generation of Intel processors. So you'll be pretty much future ready for a while too. Gigabyte GTX 960 series graphics card. That's no slouch. I'm not a big Nvidia guy, but that's a nice card.
Mhm.
And the Intel 530 series 180 gig SSD, which is more than enough to run your operating system and your core apps.
SSD too. That's
Yeah,
that's that's the
fast
big part.
load,
Because a
fast
lot of
load and
people,
less failure.
well, a lot of people just get like the 250s or the 225s or whatever, just to put their operating system on, and then have other hard drives, kind of like what I have. Have other hard drives for your games and your
Yeah, yep.
videos and stuff.
You got to do it like that, definitely, because you don't want all your stuff on one hard drive, and then that hard drive crashes, and then what happens? Now the systems came with 8 GB, 4x2 chips, 2133 megahertz DDR3 memory. Again, pretty nice, and that's not overclocked. That's the base speed. Well, actually, no, you'd have to overclock to get to that speed. So they're probably 1600, PC 1600, or it's PC 2100, and then you can overclock them, or it's 2133 a legit clock speed now. I don't remember now. And then Roseville, which again, great stuff. This is really quality parts. Star Predator case. Those are nice cases with the little lighting in there. You still get the blue or red light. I think they did the blue ones. And the 750 watt PSU from Roseville. Then a HyperX Cloud 2 headset and SteelSeries Heroes of the Storm mousepad. Really nice kit here. So wow, that's pretty awesome. So for those that won, congrats. And I'm a little jelly. You can watch the replay over at heroesofthedorm.com. They also have the results for all the brackets. People that participated in the bracket got a free Asmo Dunk portrait. It's too late to do that now, unfortunately. Sorry. I'm sorry. I should have given you guys more of a heads up. We already talked about with the replay. I had some notes here about what happened in the match, and we could go much deeper in that, but we got to keep moving things along. One thing I noticed, though, is that I think, again, esports would be taken more seriously if you had local teams. Like, you have Copenhagen Wolves, and that gets people excited. It's like, I don't really care about League of Legends, but they're from Copenhagen, so I got to root for them, and they might start paying attention. So there needs to be more of that. I know that's quite the same, because it's not like you can say, all right, come to my home field and battle me here. Most of it's done online. But you can still create that sense virtually and get people invested in those teams, especially if you do the college scene thing. That's something that we might be spearheading soon, because I think there needs to be more of that. And what else do we have here? I want to also point out this Cowturd guy. I'm sorry, his name is Colin Cowherd from ESPN Radio. And I don't like to BM, and I try not to be salty on this show, but he slammed competitive gaming. He couldn't even get his story straight, and he was reading from a script. He called Blizzard. He referred to Blizzard as Blizzard, and he said that Heroes of the Dorm was a League of Legends competition. Okay, this is a few of the quotes that he said during his proverbial pooping all over the esports scene. He says, "Somebody locked the basement door in Mom's basement. I will quit my job if I am ever asked to cover that. I tapped out at Harry Potter. I tolerated it, Donkey Kong."
Then he's gonna keep going.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to bait you, and we might drop F-bomb or S-bomb or something. But yeah,
Nope.
But he ended his diatribe, his uneducated diatribe, by saying, "Unbelievable. Aye, oi. But what's unbelievable is that people are stuck in the Stone Age. Yes, guess what, people? Being smart nowadays and using your brain is in. Jocks are now the outcasts. Now, keyboard jockeys, we're kind of in now. So deal with it. There's different ways to compete. I know another thing is funny too. Like, I love traditional sports. I love my football, my basketball, baseball, hockey. I like all that stuff, and I keep up with it. Not that big as some people do, but I do really really enjoy it. And I do the fantasy leagues too, to keep up with the players and the teams. But people need to catch up with present day, And then for a long time, there's been non-traditional athletes. Golf, come on, those people are not really athletes. That's leisurely.
Oh crap!
I mean, shots fired. But I mean, come on, billiards. I love billiards. I love playing a nice game of pool.
All right.
Darts is cool, and they have competitive scenes, but then technically they're sports, but they're not real athletes.
Here's a pro this is what they call themselves. Here's a pro athlete that literally sits on his butt or her butt. A professional poker player.
Yeah, and they consider that a sport. Yep.
And ESPN's all over that.
Yep. Yep. And
So
that's a game. It's a game.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a little bit, and I'll watch my mouth. I will, and I'm gonna get a little bit hinty towards Mr. I don't even know what his name is because it really doesn't matter what his name is.
We'll just call him Cowturd.
Cowturd. That sounds like real good. Mr. Cowturd of ESPN Radio. If you ever listen to this is what I want you to say to you. First of all, when you're gonna slam gaming or esports, competitive esports, first of all, get your story straight, sir. Your story is League of Legends and Heroes of the Dorm, which, for one, they're not the same at all. Two, if you're going to slam something, make sure you have your facts straight. You can't just go in and slam something, and it's the same thing. The online poker is the same thing as online gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Poker tournaments is the same thing as a LAN tournament. It's the same stinking thing. When you get to the finals or the final table in a poker tournament, that's the last 10 people, right? Well, guess what? The finals in a CS:GO LAN tournament, it's the last 2 teams.
Yep.
Whoever wins wins. Whoever wins at that final table wins. It's the same thing.
And the thing is, if the argument.
You can't bash electronic gaming, esports, for something that you don't even know what it is, for one. And for you to bash it, that's just you being ignorant.
See, the thing is, like, if you think of an athlete as being physically fit, then I have a surprise for you. A lot of NFL players are actually out of shape. They may be muscular, but they have terrible heart conditions, because they don't work at a cardiovascular. They work on their burst speed, but they have no real durability and stamina. It's all about sprinting and all that burst performance. The burst strength, burst speed, and it's a very common thing. They eat unhealthy. Just because they look buff and they look muscular doesn't mean they're truly athletes. Now, to me, athleticism has become more. Yeah, some it's hit or miss. You can't say global.
Well, you get linemen that are physically can bench press 400 pounds, but you look at them and it looks like they have 2, truck tires around their waist, but that's really them. Yes, they eat big portions, like they'll eat a full chicken because they want to be big for the line. You get a running back or a wide receiver, they're 8% body fat.
Yeah, and it's a whole different thing with them, yeah. They're just there to absorb the blows and weigh people back. But, and
good.
The other thing I was going to say about it is that I think athleticism, being an athlete, is evolving. I think it's more about having a discipline, a dedication to learn the fundamentals and go through repetition, exercising good habit to perfect things that may seem mundane to other people. So, and the esports players, they have that in spades. I don't think some people say, "Oh, they shouldn't call it esports because there's a stigma to that." People will get over it. It's here to stay. It's gonna keep growing.
Why do they call? Why wouldn't we call it esports?
Yeah,
it stands for electronic sports.
Yep, but
why are you going to call it the National Football League the NFL? Because that's what it stands for.
Yep. It's just ignorance. It's people that don't want to, they're still stuck in, I don't know, decades ago mentality. And they're like, oh, I don't want to share the same space with nerds. Like, well, sorry.
You've heard the term ignorance is bliss, right? Yep, these people are so ignorant. I'm laughing my ass off. Butt off.
It's all right. That one's not so bad. We can just say that's a donkey. But BFT says that the definition I just gave is more like isn't that just being professional? That's true. But I think athleticism in this framework is kind of synonymous with professionalism.
Yeah, but how professional are football players that go off and beat their wives?
Because I guess athletes, you're
just
conditioning.
because I got drunk, so I beat my wife, but I'm gonna be a professional athlete and be a role model to kids and have them, make them want to be me. But then I'm gonna show them that I can beat my wife and still be in the
Yeah,
National
yeah.
Football League.
Let's not even
You
get
know.
started on that. But yeah, that's definitely.
Sorry.
There's a lot.
Sorry.
No. I mean, it's a very good point. It's relevant to what we're talking about today. There's a serious lack of, you know, role models, and sometimes there's a bad thing as being overly dedicated. You're just married to your job, and nothing else matters to you. So, like BFT said, noobs at life, pro on the field. Yeah, that's a. We might table that for another discussion, but I agree. But last bit of news here: Silent Hills is indeed officially canceled. Many communities are saddened by this. If you look around on the interwebs, the Nerdist, Bloody Disgusting, IGN, GameSpot, VC Post, and even International Business Times, of all places, have reported this and continue to kind of keep people abreast of the latest developments. Now, it's kind of not news for us that have no intentions of getting a PS4. But I'm sorry for the rest of you that do have one or have intention of getting one or are looking forward to this game that was supposed to be an exclusive. But the good news is that while you may not see a digital Norman Reedus in a game that's actually good anytime soon, because we won't talk about, what was the game? Walking Dead, Survival Instinct? Yeah. There will be a new Silent Hill game eventually, according to Konami. So something's coming, it just won't be Silent Hills. So it's a shame. Moving on, we have a creative corner. We have a poem by Andrew Murray, aka Lord Rakdos, and it's called Black Jester. Today's topics, if we have enough time, we'll go deep. We'll try to go deeper about the theme of toxicity. Stop it, Obi. Behave yourself. It's a family show.
I didn't do anything.
But yes, and then, we talked a lot about mouth garbage, and that's part of toxicity. But it's a creative problem. Obi's trying to derail us. Come on, stay focused. We gotta make it through. We got about a little over a half hour left. But this poem is perfect as an introduction for our main theme, our main tea time discussion today. And again, it's called Black Jester. And I was going to have Oolong read it. Oh, you're not in the show notes, are you? I don't see you in here.
Nope.
I said I'll read it. So
I could read it. I'll jump in it real quick.
We gotta move along. I'm going to tell you, all right, so if you can jump in it real quick, I have to give you access to it. What I love about this is that I can relate to it a lot because one of the things it talks about is humor as a coping mechanism. I put it in the Twitch chat. That's what I'm going to do. I'm put it in the Twitch chat. You can read it from the Twitch chat. Boom. There you go. And many people tend to take my sarcasm as like passive aggressiveness when they don't know me well or patronization. But really, it's just my way to offset the salt and keep things positive. People are way too negative and just all about the drama. Bobby, read it for us real quick.
All right. Just so
give us your best reading voice.
People are going to. I'm putting it on a notepad real quick. Sorry.
So you can space it out.
Yep. I tell jokes to hide a sad soul. I laugh to hide a crying child. I listen so no one else is alone. I wear bright colors to distract from red-rimmed eyes. I am kind because I don't want others to suffer. I teach so others learn from my mistakes. I lie so no one else need to feel sadness. I help so no one else need to like me. I am the Black Jester.
Ooh, that's good. That's chilling. And we got the full text over at geekyantics.net/stories or /storytelling, where we have all kinds of flash fiction, which encompasses a lot: poetry, short stories, fan fiction.
Cheer up, emo kid.
That's not nice. See, that's part of toxicity. See, you automatically branded him emo. That's not nice. I know it's a joke though. We know Dreadnought, and we know that he says that as a joke. But someone on the outside might see that and feel hurt by that. So there's power in words. So I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but that is actually a topic of today, a tea time topic for today, the root of toxicity. It's probably what we're going to end the show on because we probably won't have time for our gaming verse segment.
That is humor.
That is humor. We know. But I have to make that disclaimer because we do have a very compassionate, sensitive audience that is really attuned to the human condition and emotion. So we don't want anyone thinking the wrong thing about our community. everybody's for the most part really cool and really friendly and welcoming and accepting. But so yeah, the root of toxicity. So we've often talked about toxicity and mouth garbage here on the Geeky Answers Network. And today for our tea time topic, we're going to dig deep, much deeper, into the issues of toxicity in online communities and video games alike. Now, first off, this goes off, toxicity. If you ask yourself, what is toxicity? It goes beyond just one-off BM, bad manners. There are distinct flavors and degrees, but the common thread that I've seen at least is a failure to see how detrimental toxic behavior really is. Toxicity is venomous by definition. It spreads ignorance and ill will like a plague, much like Colin Cowherd from ESPN Radio. Like it may be intended to be funny, but it's at the expense of a wide group of people, and that's just not right. Like it's just, and the thing is, if you're in an opinion forum, like now comedy is one exception where you could say things that are kind of below the belt because you realize, hey, it's comedy. Comedy is kind of meant to be tragedy with timing. That's the formula for comedy. So there really is a reverence in comedy, and if you get offended easily, don't listen to comedy, don't watch comedy, because that's kind of what happens. But toxicity is not just isolated to gaming or online communities. We all deal with it as writers, content creators, inventors, broadcasters, podcasters, game designers. And I'm mentioning these particular areas in particular because that's what a lot of us here on the Geeky Answers Network are, and a lot of our audience are involved in those spaces. Marketers, we deal with that. Salespeople deal with that. And it's just part of everyday life. Part of dealing with it is kind of killing people with kindness, I would say. And we're talking about more ways that we could mitigate the effects of toxicity. But you also have to kind of take criticism with a grain of salt, because you don't want to be part of the problem. Someone says something and maybe just assume it was well intended, but they didn't know how to say it in a way that's constructive. And they just say, thank you. But we're gonna talk about how to deal with it. But one thing to know about toxicity is that it's not always that people are trolls or griefers. That's the assumption that people make really easily. So we're gonna go into the root cause analysis, the RCA of it all, to get to the heart of the issues. So to deal with toxicity, you first have to understand what is really driving the behavior. Toxic behavior, is a symptom of a greater issue that's beneath. It's it's like you might see a boil on your face, but there's something else going on beneath the skin you have to address. It's kind of the same thing here. And if you don't address it soon enough, it might turn into something really hideous and disgusting. I know that's probably a really gross analogy, and I'm sorry for that. But common roots are, the first one I have here is IDGAF. I don't give a fudge. And that's what I think most people assume is like, this person just doesn't care, so why should I care? But that's not. I'm finding more and more that when you really get to know people, that's like usually the least driving force. But there are people that have that attitude, like I do what I want, I don't care who I hurt, and there's more at work behind that. They may have been hurt in the past, or they have a lot of toxic people in their life, so they're not bothering anymore. Because why be part of the change when you could just follow the lead and be part of the problem? Sometimes it's just people had a bad day. That's for something, hey, you're having a bad day. You're acting really salty. You're kind of being toxic today. You mean, is there anything I can help you with? You gotta be aware that people have bad days. Everybody rages sometimes and explodes, and everybody has the tipping point, their boiling point, whatever you want to say. Another big one, I feel it's a really huge one. Some people feel like nobody listens in their life, or they're never heard. And that's a terrible feeling. So people have these outbursts that are really terrible and kind of gross, but it's because they feel like nobody listens. So they figure like, it's kind of like what babies do. They just keep crying and throwing a fit. Little kids do it too until they get attention. And a lot of us don't mature past that point. So
Movie does it too.
Yeah, I mean, we all do it sometimes. Some people more than others. But we feel like nobody listens, no one's giving us attention, so we make spectacles of things that aren't that serious. Like, oh my gosh, you noob, why are you feeding? Oh, that's the wrong build for that character, blah blah blah. Oh, you picked Abathur, he's terrible. Oh, noob. Oh, Nova, oh, new pick. Like, that's what happens here in the store sometimes, sadly, now that they open up to the League of Legends and Dota 2 communities, which happens to be very toxic. But again, it's not just gaming, but we're just bringing it back to gaming because we are on Twitch. Another thing, entitlement. Some people just have a sense of entitlement. The world owes me a living. I'm the victim here. I deserve better. I've always gotten the worst of things, so I need to, oh, this should be free. I don't want to pay. This should be free. Entitlements, like, give me. Well, what are you doing to earn that? That's the thing about entitlement. It's usually a one-way thing. I'm entitled to all this, but I'm not doing anything in return to make the world a better place, to make society a better place, to help my fellow man, or even my family and my friends. In competitive scenes, sore losers. Being a bad sport. It's funny because people hate losing, but they become toxic, and ironically, they start perpetuating more losing streaks because they demoralize and distract their teams. But they still do it because they don't realize that they're the reason they're losing.
And then they blame their team. I lost the last 3 because my team's been stupid.
Yep. Passing the buck. Which is another point. I think it's more of a symptom than a root cause, but lack of self-accountability and that pass the buck mentality, really bad. Lastly, another root cause of toxicity, I would say, is closed-mindedness. I can't tell you how many people think that they say, oh, the reason I'm being really adamant or aggressive here is because I know I'm right. How can you know you're right on an opinion? A lot of these things subjective. Yeah, it's classic. Like, something's subjective. You can't know you're right because it's subjective. It depends. You have to see the other person's perspective so they can see yours, and then you compromise like adults should do, and you meet halfway. It's really simple. And Dreadnought's playing. He's playing Heroes of the Storm. He says, too many scrub lords on the dance floor. Sadly, how he's feeling this morning in the storm. But and he says salesmen get the worst of it, the toxicity. Yeah. Been there before. And everybody does sales to some extent, whether you realize it or not. Everybody's selling or marketing something. Trust me on this. Job hunting is sales. You're trying to sell yourself legally. Pitching a project, same thing. Nah, I won't get into that. Twitch streaming, that's also sales. But anyway. But see, that's the thing, like, it's so easy to fall into this trap. And don't get me wrong, there are times when you're in a game or you're on a team, it doesn't even have to be a game, and you say, man, this person's not contributing what the rest of us are. This person's holding us back. But I think more times than not, you need to focus on yourself and your opportunities. And we're going to get into this right now, but it's important to know, you have to break the vicious cycle. If you become toxic yourself, you add to the problem. Or even if you just BM, it's a one-off thing, like, man, this team sucks, or like, you suck, or you're not good at this thing, or your artwork stinks, you become part of the problem yourself. So why add to it? Because then that comes around full circle. And misery loves company. There's people that, because they're unhappy, they want to make sure everyone else is unhappy. They don't have a bad day, they have a bad life, and it's sad.
Yeah.
And in gaming, sadly, people come to these PvP games to grief others, because that's their outlet. It's like, well, find another outlet. I don't know. Do paint by color. Play a game against bots, not human players. Don't ruin other people's gaming time. 'Cause a lot of us have limited time to enjoy the things we love, and then we don't want to go to those things to experience toxicity. Hey, you even see toxicity in places where you shouldn't see it, like going to church. So many people turn away from faith because you have toxic people, like, always gossiping. They're always saying, like, bad things about people. Like, look at the way she's dressing. Oh, look at her makeup. It looks terrible. It's like, really? Like, of all places, this is the one place you should know to be accepting of people, compassionate, and say good things. And another thing I'm gonna say before we get into ways to handle toxicity and mitigate its effects. Like I know some people are brought up, and I think it's a good thing to teach your children. It's honesty is important. There is a caveat to that, though. All right, I'm gonna explain this because my son's girlfriend believes this, and I'm like, okay, that's nice, but you can't just say what's on your mind or do whatever you feel is right because you're being honest or authentic. Because everybody did what they wanted and spoke what they wanted, this world would be a total cluster. And you fill in the blank.
Cluster what? Fudge?
Just cluster party, peanut cluster.
Say puck.
Yeah, that could be misconstrued. Unfortunately, someone's like listening on a low volume. So no, let's not get into that habit.
Cluster sickle.
Obi's trying to find the leeway here.
Cluster sickle.
But
that's a good one.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I feel like honesty is great, but if you have to think about everything you say and do, think about the possible effects. Think about, first of all, how would you take it if you were in that person's shoes? Try to understand their position and how you would feel about it. Right? You might give feedback. Because a lot of times people say they use the pretense of, oh, I'm just an honest person. And really all it is that they like to criticize people, but they don't want to be criticized in return. And I see this so much. It's like, that dress looks hideous on you. Oh, that thing you're eating looks disgusting. Oh, this tastes terrible. I can't believe you spent 2 hours cooking this. It's like, do you ever say anything nice? And again, we go back to mouth garbage. It's a very important thing to be aware of. Like, if you don't have something to do or say that adds value, then more than likely you shouldn't share it. And you may want to consider what's going on inside of your head that you feel like you only have to speak or act when it's something negative.
Basically, it's not everything has to be said. There's times where, if you could just think like a normal person and say to yourself what you're going to say to somebody, and 9 times out of 10, it's probably bad if you're going to be that kind of a person. I mean, especially if you're already salty as it is, and you're just trying to give somebody, oh, I'm just being honest with you, but you suck. You don't even really need to say that.
Exactly.
It doesn't even need to be said.
And that stuff...
Go ahead.
That stuff lives with you longer than people realize. It stays in your psyche, even if you're thick-skinned. All right, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
So yeah, we've talked about mouth garbage a lot. I don't know if you've heard our previous, our older episodes, Obi, but
we've been in this same discussion on different shows too.
Yeah. But here, a common theme has been going really deep on mouth garbage because it's an issue, especially with the way social media has helped spread the ignorance.
We can talk about it, every day for the next 20 years, but it's not going to stop. So it's basically, how can you combat the mouth garbage? If you actually see somebody, that's talking like that, what can you say to that person to make them think like, oh, damn, I'm being a total douchebag? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, be nice. Okay? I've learned a lot of things from my wife. Yes, I've learned a lot of things from my wife since I've been married to her, which is 3 years last Tuesday. Yeah, I just had my anniversary, yo. Forgot to tell you, sorry.
Oh, man, congrats.
But 3 years last Tuesday. We've been together for 5 years. But I've learned so much thing. But the one thing that I've learned from her, okay, is, like we had a discussion about it the other day, was you get more bees with honey than vinegar. Okay, of course. Yep. Yeah, if you're nice to somebody. If I call up the cable company, which I do sometimes, I'm pissed. I'm tired of my internet going out, especially when I'm doing one of, the mainstream talk shows for a network, and I just get so mad, and I call up and go, what the f is going on? I didn't say it. I get so upset, and people know me. It's Obi, guys. I speak my mind, Well, why can't you, what's wrong with it? Well, sorry, sir. There's nothing we can do. Something happened. All 3 services are out of sight. I know. What if I have a heart attack and I can't use my cell phone? What my house phone's done,
Yep.
Made her feel. But then I thought about it. If you're nice to people, and this has This is my final point. But if you're nice to people that are being toxic to you, no matter how bad they're being, if you're nice to them, they will second guess. Now, it might not be for a little while. They might still talk trash. They might still, oh my God, why did you get a black cleaver? You should have got a Randuin's Omen. What the heck are you doing?
League of Legends
Okay.
talk.
Well,
Good
yeah,
times.
sorry, but whatever. You picked Abathar. We didn't need Abathar. We needed Sergeant Hammer.
Close-mindedness right
Okay.
there.
Hey, it's okay, buddy. Let me play my game. You make sure you do your job. If I need help and I fail, I will tell you you told me so at the end of the game. And a lot of time that will sit there and go, okay, you play your game. And then I end up, and people do it all the time when I get on Zagra. Oh no, we don't need Zagra. We need this, this, and this, and you're gonna suck. Now we lose. Like first, like literally
GG.
5 seconds, 5 seconds of the game. GG. We got Zagra. It's like, guys, please let me down by myself. You guys just do your job. I'll be there for team fights when I need to be. And I'll use the Unitas worm or something like that to where they'll be like, hey, how'd you get here? I'm doing my job, man. Just keep going. Oh man, we're gonna win. Then they start turning it around, and it's like 5 minutes into the game.
Yep.
So it's just, guys, if you can be nice to somebody that's being salty, I know it's hard. And this is coming from probably the saltiest gamer on Geeky Antics. If you can be nice to them, they will change their tone within minutes, guys. It's really easy. You got to have that better man mentality. Just think about it. Even if you're 20 years old or 15 years old playing Heroes of the Storm, be the better man.
Yeah,
Don't
someone
dig
has
into
to.
their saltiness.
Someone has to
stop
break.
it.
Yeah, someone has to break that cycle. Exactly. Someone has to be the better person. Man, woman, or robot. But another thing I want to say too, before
Yes.
again we get into how to deal with stuff.
Yes, Dreadnought, I'm very salty, but everybody knows that. I'm the saltiest. I'm the saltiest person in Geeky Antics.
Oh, I could be a bit of a curmudgeon myself, but
If somebody were to take a bite out of me, they'd die.
high
from salt.
sodium
High
diet.
sodium content.
But it's not about being nice. Though that's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
But there's a stigma attached to that to some people. It's not about being overly sensitive, PC, politically correct, or being a wuss. It's working to curb toxicity in ourselves and friends. That we should be holding friends and family. We should be holding them accountable because they're our loved ones and we care about them. We want better for them.
Definitely.
It builds strong communities, and it just makes things happen. Good things happen. Toxicity breeds bad things. People give up on life. They might give up completely on life. We're about to get into a tragic story at the end here if we get time. But there's some really bad things, some real tragedies that could have been averted if people were just aware of just how serious their actions are. So here are productive versus knee-jerk reactions. And actually, we're just going to get into the productive ones. Judge the action, not the person. Don't say that person's a jerk. You can say that person's kind of acting like a jerk. And then that helps you get to a solution. Like, why are they acting like a jerk? Because if you call someone a name, you kind of perpetuate a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts. And that person is going to start being more of that thing that you put them in, that box you put them in. That's because
Call me a jerk, I'm gonna be a jerk.
yeah, and they become defensive. So they're just gonna prove you right. Team opportunities. It's so important to use we statements instead of calling someone out. If you single someone out, again, they're gonna get defensive. But if you think about team opportunities, ways that we could do things together. We should try this. Hey, let's go do this. Maybe we should stop doing that. Then it's like, okay, yeah. It's like, I'm seeing that we keep doing this and this happens, so maybe we should try this instead. Oh, it's a good idea. Then it doesn't. That one person doesn't go, hey, don't judge me. I know what I'm doing because I have a degree in this. Or I have this many years of experience in this kind of thing. On Heroes of the Storm, bringing it back to there. Heroes of the Storm, you give someone positive feedback. You're not saying they suck, or you're not saying that they're a terrible player. You say, hey, try not to chase them because they might just be peeling you, and we need you here. Hey, don't worry, I'm a diamond. Oh, I'm a challenger in League of Legends. Like, but that had nothing to do with this game. This is a whole different set of core mechanics. But that's
Yeah,
not,
you
that's
can't
nice. Congrats.
1v5 in this game like you can do in League.
Yeah, exactly. The snowball effect is not there. You can't carry your team, quote unquote.
The snowball effect is not for one player; it's for the whole team.
Yep.
Because if you start getting kills, and this is what I'm. Do I have time?
Hey, we got about like 15 minutes or so. Go ahead.
Once the team starts getting kills, guys, and you start seeing the numbers at the top of your screen, and you say your team is level 10, okay, and you look at the other number and it says level 8. That means the other team is only level 8. So that's right there should tell you we have 2 levels on them. We have our alts, they don't. Let's start killing them.
Yep.
The faster, more you kill them, the more siege potential you have in all lanes. This is the whole map. Plus your own team, you hit level 11, they're hit level 9. You still hit them again with your alts. Bam, there you go again. You hit level 12, 13, they're hit level 10. Now be aware that even though you're level 12, 13, they can still snap at you with their alts because their alts do have lockdown power, they do have damage power, or whoever you're playing against. But it's the little things, and I lost really pretty much what I was talking about. So
It's all right. Tangent City today.
It is.
But another solution is offer sincere support. Don't be sarcastic. Don't be condescending. Say, let me give you some tips, because I'm clearly a better player. And I say, hey, are you new to the game? If you need some help, just let us know. Don't give unsolicited advice. That usually doesn't end well. People usually do not like unsolicited advice. But if you open up the conversation and say, hey, are you new? Do you need help? That's it. Try to find a way to position it so then they don't get offended. Like, I'm not new. What are you trying to say? There's always ways to approach it. But just don't give advice like, you should try this build instead. You should try doing this. Like, again, people get defensive. Thank folks for feedback. So when you do get that unsolicited advice, just thank them for it. Even though you may already know it, try to just thank them for it. So they just end it there. Say, hey, cool. Thanks for letting me know. Because sometimes not even worth saying, oh, I was already aware of that, or I've been playing this as the alpha, or I'm certified in this field, or I got a degree in this field. Whatever your credentials or your experience are, just move on, keep it moving, because it may just end in a bad place. And again, be self-accountable, own your own mistakes, and embrace opportunities. If you get into that habit, say, oh man, sorry guys, I overextended. Oh, I overcommitted there. Oh, I got too hungry for that kill. Oh, I'm playing sloppy. Oh, I'm not really focused on the task at hand. Whatever you're doing, not just Heroes of the Storm, own your own mistakes, your own opportunities, and then that might get people to do the same.
Right.
Obi, you were gonna say something?
I forgot already.
Ah, damn it. But there are lots of triggers. When you go back to games, there's lots of triggers and things they could do to kind of block those triggers or avert the behaviors that cause massive player turnaround, people leaving games, or harassment. We may not have enough time to talk about this, but some of the things we have in mind, Lever Griefer Jail, it's been implemented in Heroes of the Storm, and that it's something I think needs to be we see more of. Dota 2 has a similar model, but not quite there. League of Legends has a feedback system, but that doesn't really work that well, because you need kind of an incentive, and you need to, like, the way reporting should work, even if it's a positive feedback, they need to make it more public so people can feel proud about the fact that they're spreading goodwill, and that people can read the notes. Hey, I really enjoyed the way you played that support. I'm glad you did this for me. And people can share that with their friends, and share the positive stuff. The more you can make positive feedback shareable and public, more pervasive, the less people will just focus on the bad. I think it's important, because ignorance and negativity will spread like wildfire. In video games, there needs to be anti-smurfing. And extensive player onboarding. What this means is it shouldn't be easy for a new player to jump into PvP modes or ranked modes where there's more chances that they could be disruptive. And on the same note, it shouldn't be easy for someone that says, oh, well, I just got banned or I got suspended, so I'm just going to make a Smurf account and then jump right back in and go back to the same behavior. On a similar note, a lot of games track stats and data server side, a lot of which you may not be aware of. if they got the data points, why not just track trending data? They see, I don't see a problem with you see multiple accounts on the same IP address or even the same IP block doing the same exact things. They're getting the same kind of reports and the same kind of trouble happening, the same kind of usage habits. It's like, they might be the same person. So you put them into lever jail, the griefer jail, so that they just they could just hang out with other disruptive people until they
When's
play.
the griefer jail coming?
Well, lever jail is already implemented, but now they're expanding it to griefer jail. We were talking about this before. For a long time, we were saying the game should have something like this.
I can't wait. So, because I want to start reporting people that do that. I mean, seriously, like, don't get too like hardcore on reporting these people. I mean, if they do it at the beginning of the game, give them 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, say to them, talk to them just like you normally do. Like, yeah, we're just playing, man. Well, why'd you pick that? Well, I'm doing this and this and this. Agree with them more. Just say, hey, you should try this when you do this. All right, cool. Thanks. I'll let you. I'm doing this way because of the team comp or whatever. But, just give them. I mean, if they're doing it like 10 minutes, they're still bitching. Sorry. They're still crying and complaining and whatever. Just report them.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut up so I don't...
It's all right. I'll have lots of editing to do for Horseplay and this show. Sorry. I'm a pro. I'm a pro. We'll figure it out. That one not so bad, but it's female dog kids. That's all. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I also feel like having reporting it could be a bad thing too, because a lot of people use that as a way to bully. Reported, enjoy your ban. So I feel like there should be a combination of things. Reports from people that have a bad reputation already should have a lower weight. And people that abuse reporting, there has to be some kind of automated system to kind of figure out, this person may just be abusing the system. They may just think that everyone's terrible and everyone's a troll. So
all they need to do is look at the reason why.
Yeah, but see, that
really,
requires administration, right? Someone has to be actually touching all those things. That's not gonna happen. They tried that with League of Legends, remember? Tribunal? Yeah. Come on. It needs to be automated. There's a lot of fuzzy logic you use. I mean, the data's there. Not that hard to program.
What I'm saying, there needs to be like a certain thing to where like there needs to be like over 100 characters and they're actually going to look at it with somebody. Like somebody's actually going to look at it. But then again, you said it needs to be fully automated, so...
It needs to be automated to a point so that only the real serious things that require attention, like if you're going to ban someone, that needs to be evaluated, So you have an escalation process. You put them in lever/griefer jail. Then if they keep doing bad things, they get suspended a few times. They get warnings. Hey, if you keep doing this, you're gonna get banned. It's gonna be a permanent thing. So then they have a chance.
But then, like you said, it's just going to come out that they're going to make Smurf accounts, and guess what? That's going to be their main account.
And there's ways to deal with that too. Yeah, there's ways to deal with that too. Because even for like a thing like Hero and Team League, the barrier to entry is quite high. You have to get enough heroes, enough experience, you get to level up, blah blah blah. So yeah. So they'll hurt themselves ultimately. So
we'll play some for Gang Night tonight. So
yeah, definitely. Another thing that'd be cool is tooltips. Again, reinforcing positive things. I love did you know statements. It's a really big thing in web copy and just marketing copy in general. It's a psychological thing too. It's a psychological. I don't want to say ploy. It's a tool that it works. It works for all of us, whether we want to admit it or not. But if you see things like, did you know that team players and encouraging teammates win 60 to 75% more games than those that do not? Did you know helpful people are invited to 80% more parties than pre-mates? Did you know that teams that focus on teamwork and objectives win 3 times as many matches as those that focus on soloing and kills?
Oh, so many numbers.
Now, these are not actual numbers. I kind of made these up. They're kind of loosely based on real stats. But statements like this, backed by hard stats, they instill and reinforce good behavior, and that's what we need to see in game communities to get people thinking about the team instead of themselves, and thinking about how their behaviors, not just their play style, helps build up or break down their team. And the last thing that I'm urging Blizzard to do, that they did a lot with Hearthstone. They even mentioned some of our content, but community roundups. This needs to be a thing. There's a community creations forum on Battle.net, but it's not really community roundups like they used to be. And Flair is great, a great community manager, but I would like to see more like, hey, these are great podcasts to listen to. Listen to these episodes. Check out these websites. They have great articles about Heroes of the Storm and the newbie guides and blah blah blah. And not just for us. Yes, we do have a lot of content that covers that stuff, but it's also a lot of our friends, like our friends over at the B Team Podcast. We got I like a lot of Heroes of the Storm podcasts. There's some Smite podcasts even that are out there that are good. But there's a lot of great Heroes of the Storm podcasts, and many of them are geared towards casual and competitive players alike, which is Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm is accessible. Anyone can play and get into it and compete on a casual level or a hardcore level. You don't have to be a professional gamer, and you can still enjoy it for different reasons. But the last thing I want to mention is something tragic. We are wrapping up the show, so it's going to be kind of a down note. But, I want to say raging occasionally is okay. And we all do it. It's something you want to curb and be mindful of. But toxicity hurts. It sticks with people, and it creates a ripple effect in their lives. Mouth garbage is dangerous. We've said it again, time and again. Once in a while, we joke around. We say something salty, but, your intentions do matter. But sometimes those intentions don't come across. Just look at what happened to the Dolphin emulator contributor and the developer, Rachel Breich, who's part of the LGBT community. She's actually transgender, I believe is the word you want to say. But she was really beloved, and unfortunately, some homophobic people really gave her a hard time, and she even posted on 4chan and some other places that she was gonna withdraw from certain communities because they were getting too toxic. Finally, she was dealing with a lot of physical ailments. I think she had fibromyalgia and some other issues, muscle deterioration, and that's what fibromyalgia is, and some other things going on.
There's another streamer that's out there that is doing the thing, and it's Distracted Elf.
What do you mean?
I watch her all the time. Transgender.
Oh yeah. No, that's a growing trend for sure. But
it's not a trend. I mean, it's a lifestyle. But
I'm saying it's a trend that they're finally feeling comfortable enough and accepted enough to come out and go into those public spaces. That's good because everyone should be accepted.
She'll get bashers or whatever come in her stream.
Yeah,
but she's got some really good mods and a really good supporting that people pretty much blow them up before they get to her.
Well, this went down a really dark road because it got to the point that I think Rachel even posted on Ask FM. She said, I'm really kind of tired of all the pain I'm going through with the fibromyalgia and the arthritis and all the other stuff going on, and then all the people that are just being really mean towards me. She's beloved. Overall, she was beloved, but it's just a few that ruined it for the many. She was beloved throughout the and the Dolphin, by the way, is a GameCube and Wii emulator, and it's really cool. And she was one of the main people spearheading that and contributing to that. And now we lost a wonderful person who was really compassionate and brought value into the world, because some people that have no value wanted to just do the only thing they know how to do, which is ruin everything, things for other, because they're miserable or whatever. Or there might be something else at root there, but that's the assumption we can probably make, because they were unrelenting, they were relentless, better yet. So she finally ended up committing suicide. She actually jumped off the George Washington Bridge in Manhattan, and it's like, wow. And I remember reading the article saying that the people were the trolls were encouraging her to commit suicide, and then the next day it happened. I was like, wow, that really sucks. I'm laughing because it's really it's sad, and I'm really saddened by it. But I don't want to get teary eyed here.
Right? No, well, that's true. It's really hard to hear that when anybody takes their own life for something that. And it's basically the cyberbullying that's been going on, or even bullying that's been going on for how many years?
forever.
mean, you got to think about it. Major companies try to battle against it. One being the WWE that Fatal loves so much. That they're big advocates for bullying and cyberbullying because it is real.
Yep.
Now I would love to see and just talk to on like a podcast, but just talk to somebody, okay, that actually told her to go kill herself, and then it happens. I would love to hear what they think. Like, what are you thinking the day after the day after you said you should go kill yourself? She kills herself. Do they feel remorse? Do they feel anything?
I would love for
she wasn't listening to me. That was the other guy.
Yeah, right. I think that's how people rationalize things. Like I didn't cause that, but you were part of it. Like if you weren't part of the solution, you're part of the problem. I would like to see someone that's not emotionally attached to this scenario, because to me, the whole thing of suicide. I've had loved ones that that hit homes for me, and I've had very close people go down that road, and it's very sad because you never see it coming, and it's sad. It's I don't know.
Well, you do see it coming, but most people don't recognize, or it's just everyday life. Like, you don't really think about your buddy being down. You just think he's sick, whatever, But that's just, the signs are there. If anybody does see, and that being said, though, seriously, on a serious note, since we're being this way, if anybody does see anything like that, if people are saying, hey, you can have my stuff if you want, or hey, dude, you want my account? Hey, dude, you want this? Like, why? Hey, I'm gonna be leaving. Where are you going? Talk to them. Don't just brush it off.
Yeah. See, there are signs, but it's not always obvious. It's usually very subtle. Because a lot of people say that, like, every time you hear, like, here's the thing, and there's statistics to back it up, but a lot of times there's no behavioral changes. And if you hear a lot of famous suicides, everyone close to them spends, like, every day with them. But I had no idea. Everything was, like, normal for us. Like, it was like any other day.
But those are those cases that those are, people that just really are really done.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, people that we're close to. Yes, a lot of those people that just do it are, popular, or, they're, they're wealthy or just whatever. Talk about just the average gamer for like you and me.
For everyday people too, that holds up too.
Right.
Not
just gamers, but still, that's who we're catering to right now is gamers. But everybody still. Because like I said, it's not just because of who they are. They could be getting bullied online. And they don't know how to handle it. Just somebody to talk to could change their perspective, guys. Straight up, it's very serious. I'm sorry, Yogi, but this is something that I'm passionate about. I don't want to get bullied.
Oh,
I don't want to bully anybody else.
Yeah.
I've been bullied a little bit. Yogi was there for me. So it's just stuff that talk to somebody about it. If you guys are, don't feel like you're a little nerd, or we're all nerds. Trust me. But don't feel like you're gonna inconvenience us from asking for help, because it's not. And we're not going to spread it, oh, hey, guys, Morgana was getting trashed, so she came to us and helped. We're not going to do that. And Morgana, I know you're not. But we're not going to do something like that. We're going to keep it, and then if it's something that of a legal matter, we can point you in the right direction. But, talk to somebody, though. Because a lot of times just another person talking to another person can help or defuse the situation.
Yep.
Oh, I'm done.
No. It's really hard. We live in a time where people communicate at a very superficial level, and like sharing feelings feels really awkward to a lot of people. There's people that are married and don't even know how to share their feelings, so they kind of just communicate at very superficial levels. It's kind of like, hey, how are you today? Oh, the weather's wonderful. Okay, well, you have a good day. Okay, love you, bye. It's like, and there's no real connection. It's like, even when they ask things like how was your day, how's that project at work going, it doesn't get a real answer because either people don't know how to, they think it's just a quick, small talk kind of thing, and they don't feel like they need to give a real involved answer, or it doesn't sound sincere. Sometimes I think it's just simple. It's just simply being proactive. Like a bunch of people in the chat said, sometimes you don't see signs, and that has happened to me in my life. Sometimes you do not see signs. Very often you do not. Sometimes you do, but it's very simple. Instead of all the assault and toxicity we see, just let someone know. Every day if you can, just let them know you appreciate them. Just for the heck of saying that, not because you want anything in return or you want them to reciprocate. Say, hey, I appreciate you, man. I love having you around. Oh, I love hanging out with you. Simple little things like that. Let people feel wanted. Let them feel like they have purpose. Because sometimes you look at people that end up taking that tragic route of ending their life, and you look at their life and they're like, man, they got everything going for them. They have a beautiful family. They got this nice car, beautiful house, great job. They're really doing stuff. They're giving to charity. Everything. They got all this stuff together. Why would they do that? And you're almost angry at the same time. You're sad, but you're angry at the same time. And you realize that those are things sometimes that don't give us a sense of fulfillment. It might be superficial. On the surface, it might look like it's perfect, but they're lacking that sense of belonging and having purpose. So everybody has that power to just uplift each other. I know that's not like really hippie kind of kumbaya stuff, but it really is true. Our words are powerful. They're our greatest weapon, and you can use them for good or for bad. But folks, we do have to wrap up. And Obi, thanks for sharing those thoughtful thoughts, because I'm passionate about that. I know a lot of our listeners and viewers are very passionate about those topics right there. And that's a good note to end on. We didn't do the gaming verse today. We're just going to go at our outro because we have to wrap this up. But thank you for everyone listening on all games. We're going to close the stream here so we don't kind of go over our time too much.
I'm streaming on my channel right now. See ya.
All right. And for everyone that's still on Twitch, we want to say once again, check us out on check out our sponsors, geekyants.net/sponsors. And remember, Timey-Wimey Tea Time can be enjoyed wherever fantastic, beautiful podcasts can be found, including but not limited to Stitcher, iTunes, Zune, TuneIn Radio, and Spreaker. We want to thank all our friends at the podcast community, at the Twitch community, for showing us love, including our friends over at UBN, twitch.tv/team/UBN, and allgames.com, where you can join us live by just going to allgames.com every Saturday, unless otherwise advertised. It's actually every other Saturday. And at noon Eastern, 5 p.m. in London, 7 p.m. in Bucharest, 4 p.m. in Madrid, I believe. I'm trying to cover as many time zones as possible, but you can figure it out. And that's 9 a.m. on the West Coast, PST. And Mountain and Central Time, I'm sure you can figure it out from there. GeekyEdge.net, again, visit us there, leave some comments. Please show some love to our contributors, especially people contributing to our story section. And we'd love for you to hang out with us there on GeekyAntics.net, and also the Geeky Antics channel on Twitch.tv. Just have the YouTube, same thing, all Geeky Antics. But with that, folks, thanks so much for joining us for tea time. We're going to play some Heroes of the Storm here shortly, and it'll be gang night tonight. There'll be some GTA 5, some Heroes of the Storm, maybe some Hearthstone, a little bit of everything. But make sure you add me, Yogizilla, pound 1722. Blue says goodbye. She's singing in the background.
And to hashtag 1894.
Yeah, there we go. All right, and here goes our outro. Take care, and thanks for joining us.
We thank you. We thank you for every crumb, biscuit, and cake you bring to the table. Because Doctor Who belongs to all of us. What you bring to the timey-wimey tea time in your live chat participation, comments, likes, shares, tweets, and voicemail, all of it means the world to us. Love, true love, never fails. Do you like it? If you like what we're doing, well, tell us for God's sake. Shout it from the rooftops at geekyantics.net. Or call it in, 206-415-4987. That's 206-415-4987. That's it. Bless you. So long. And thanks for all the fish. Hold on, it won't be that long. Just a wee while. Because the timey-wimey tea time will be back. We'll return next Saturday with fresh insights, questions, and epiphanies about Doctor Who. And heck yes, everything geek. Maybe same bat time. Absolutely the same bat channel. Every Saturday.
Tiny, whiny tea time. Me gusta.